What the heck? James says it's 5 o'clock. What? Let's see. Making sure. Okay, we got the audio. We got everybody. All right, I'm here. The audio's working, the camera's working, and everybody's in the chat. It looks like we've got a show tonight. And we are somehow going to be talking about chameleons tonight. Boy, it has been quite a day, and I have not got the podcast episode I wanted to get done today. It did not get done. It just did not get done. So I guess I am doing it tomorrow. Tell ya, I have been going all over the place getting everything done, but you know what? You all need a podcast episode, and I am not going to deny you that podcast episode. So everybody let me know how things are going. This is the Chameleon Academy office hours, which means we talk chameleons, and we're going to be talking about whatever you guys want to talk about as far as chameleons. And so if you have a question, put it in the comments. I am coming live from Instagram and from the Chameleon Academy live YouTube channel. And so if you're watching the replay of this, just know that you could be here live with all these fine folk in the chat. And it's actually two shows at once. It's me up here, but sometimes I'm just background noise to what's going on in the chat. So a lot of different stuff going on here, but we are now part of it and having a grand old time. And behind me, yeah, I don't know where he is. There's a Parsons chameleon in there somewhere. That's the kind of cage you want to have for your chameleon. Parsons or any otherwise, where you look at the cage and go, he's in there somewhere. And after you look at this, you say, wow, that's not a lot of thick foliage there. It's not like it's a complete carpet. You're right. It doesn't need to be. You just need to have plants that provide some sort of visual barrier and branches that go strategically behind those plants. Chameleon's happy. So you don't have to fill up your chameleon cage with plants, even though you can if you want to. It's kind of fun, but you don't have to. This is a semi-quarantine cage, which is why I don't have totally tricked out. I've got the Crosscuts bioactive stand down here, but you can see I have the floor in. That's because this is a semi-quarantine situation. I've already tested his poop, no parasites, so he's probably pretty safe, but I'm going to leave him in there until I get another 2-3 poops out of him. And then, if there's nothing there, then I start throwing soil in there and start planting the bottom. And so throughout 2026, you're going to see this thing start growing up. So let me know what's going on out there. I'm going to check just been waiting for today. Glad you made it. Legacy Chameleons, I have now met Chris and Stephanie. Hello, welcome. Nate's Parsons, Bert arrived today. Congratulations, Nate. We know you've been working on that cage for a long time, and we have all been very excited watching you get ready for that Parsons, and I'm very glad to hear that he arrived. And let's see. James has been looking for his little girl Parsons for the last 30 minutes. Can't find her. Good. That's the way you know you've got a good cage. Javi, my Oostelets and Carpet typically give me heart attacks because I can't find them. That's what I like to hear. Let's see. Okay, good. Okay, Wendy. Had my Panther 4 weeks today, and he's doing awesome. He's getting a lot of yellow and greens coming through on him now. He's 7 months old today. Congratulations, Wendy, on having an awesome Panther chameleon. Janet says, parasites. Lord, let's get wild. Oh, yeah. Janet is dealing with some flagellated protozoa right now. Not personally, but in her chameleon. And so we all got to see a video of the flagellated protozoa. That's what you get if you go to the Chameleon Academy virtual campus and you go to we have a special class on parasites, how to use a microscope and all that kind of stuff. And it's got a forum dedicated just to parasites. so we can learn about parasites. And when you go through the course, you can talk to people who have been through the course, and we keep sharing our parasites in there. And Janet just showed a really cool picture of a lot of flagellated protozoa. And so she's off to the vet to get the appropriate medications and treatment. By the way, that's metronidazole. But it is something that you've got to get from your vet. We do not replace your vet. We just make you a full partner with your vet. That's the way we do it. Oh, Roman's back. Hello. Oh. All right. I am going to try to catch up. Oh, hey. Chris and or Stephanie. I don't know who's here. It's either Christian or Stephanie or both of them. Who knows? But we just say, hey, legacy. Just got a microscope. Very good. We got a question. Zookeeper Sam 888 says, how long should my UVB bulb be in relation to the enclosure width? Here's the thing about chameleons and UVB. Chameleons can see UVB, and we have seen them basking in UVB separated from heat. Now, I don't know why they do. I don't know why they can do this. You would think that the chameleons would say, okay, heat, UVB, it always comes together. Why is it that we now can see, we see them basking in the heat and basking in the UVB? So that's something that was surprising. What that means for husbandry, though, is that you can have a UVB, an area that has UVB, and the chameleon will use it, which means you don't need to have UVB all over the entire cage, from left to right. Now, in your typical 2x2x4, that's you don't even worry about that. Typical 2x2x4, you have your UVB bulb going across the entire 2 feet. You're set. The UVB goes down either 6 inches or 12 inches, depending upon if you've got your 6.0 or 12.0, 6%, 12%, 5.0, 10.0, that kind of thing. And then the Exoterra. Oh, I don't have those Exoterra numbers memorized. They've got the new Exoterra ones, which are pretty good. So for a 2x2x4 cage, typical one, I say just put a 2 foot across. You don't have to go diagonal. I know you see some people say, yeah, it's got to be diagonal to get the most. I don't know why they say diagonal. It's not necessary. Every one of mine is left to right. So how long should your UVB bulb in relation to the enclosure width? As at least 2 feet. But say you go something like this. You've got a 4 foot cage. There's your question. Now, do I need a 4 foot UVB bulb? The answer is it doesn't appear that you do, because your chameleon will seek it out. I mean, even if you did have one going across, the chameleon would still have to go to try to find it, because it only goes down 6 inches to 12 inches. So the answer is you can have a shorter bulb, even though it's a 4 foot cage, and the chameleon will use it. And that is my answer. Oh, herpetologism has a question. Herpetologism. I'll get it. I'll practice it. Herpetology. You know who you are. Bill, I've been waiting a couple of days to ask this. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. I've been super fascinated with the Natal Midlands dwarf chameleon. To the rest of us, that is Bradypodium thalamus. I'm curious what you may know about them. They are freaking awesome. They are if I was just looking at all chameleons in the world and I had to pick one that would be the absolute best pet chameleon, I would pick Thamnobates. It is hardy. In its native South Africa, it can hit triple digits Fahrenheit down to, it hides in the rocks when it snows. So, talk about a hardy chameleon, live bearer, small and alive and brightly colored. Yikes. That is I just love those guys. I had them in 2015 and I got 2 pairs, and I still have one of the grandchildren still have in my collection right now, and they are awesome. That's the underline. It's unfortunate that South Africa's we've had such a hard time getting them out of South Africa, and it's doubly 10 times unfortunate that when we did have babies, it's just really hard time selling them because there wasn't a whole lot of exposure for this species. People didn't know about it. I mean, the chameleon people inside the community knew about them, but there wasn't enough people who knew about them to buy all the babies, so people stopped breeding them. And then South Africa shut down for good reasons, and we've been without them for 10 years. Now, I do know that there is a group that is bringing them back, that has gone through all of the hoops in South Africa, and sometimes they list them on Morph Market. I don't know what the name of the company is. It's John Lang, and I don't. So I don't have. I'm not part of his. I just know that's the name to look for, and he's brought them in. Right now, they are very expensive, and because he's tried to recoup 10 years of investment, because the South African government makes him go like to the second captive generation, so it just takes time. So that they are able to make a comeback, it's just going to be really expensive to begin. But it's an awesome species. My pick for the best pet chameleon of all of them. All right, going back to the chat here. Alex is talking about maybe one day. Not sure how to deal with that. James hates his new phone. What's wrong, James? What's wrong with your new phone? I thought you got an iPhone 17. Isn't that cool? Oh, okay. It's Chris. Stephanie will join us soon. Okay, now we know. We have a couple of accounts that are shared between people, and so it's always fun to guess who it is. Speaking of which, there's Marcia Ann. Sorry, I was 7 minutes late. I guess Bill will need to go an extra 7 minutes so I don't miss out on my full hour. Wait a minute. You know what? It was a mistake to give you. I don't know what kind of powers you got to dictate, but you're dangerous. But often Marcia Ann has Renee also there. So this is another account where you could get two for the price of one. Hello, Robert. Welcome. Robert is part of Team Madagascar. Everybody, the Madagascar trip is essentially full. There is a little area, a little buffer room for others. If you are interested in going to Madagascar, send me an email. But there is, we are packed. So, but let me know. Ooh. Oh, there's Ashley. Hello, Ashley. Welcome. Ashley's part of Team Madagascar of 2027. James says, looks like we've got some of the crew that's going to Madagascar sneaking in. Bill, we got a lot of the people going to Madagascar sneaking in. And let's see, Jenna says, I support the extra 7 minutes. Wait a minute. Oh, see, it's dangerous when people start voting on this. Eliza Ann, it's so good to see you here. Valentina's here. I love that E in Valentina. I love it. Okay. I'm trying to catch up in the chat. All right. So I just spilled on myself. Dre is Cuerdo. And no, I did not pronounce that right at all, but I try every screen name I try to pronounce. Hey, Bill, what are some enrichment activities or things I can do for my panther? The most obvious thing that you can do that we know brings them joy. See, this is the problem when we're trying to give enrichment to chameleons that don't communicate joy. So it's really hard, but Derecha de izquierda. Izquierda. I think, hey. Okay, close enough? Dre izquierdo. Okay, we'll try that. So the one thing that I know will make them happy is different kinds of foods. Flying foods. If you let a housefly go inside of the cage, let the black soldier flies. You get those grubs. You let them turn into the flies. Let those go inside of the cage. Walking sticks or any kind of worm. They get excited about that, and we do know that you can see them getting excited. So we do know that that is enrichment. So that would be my number one suggestion. Anyone here have a Christopher? I have a male species that was sent to me accidentally. Oh, species card. Okay. They're trying to find a place for a Christopher. Eliza Ann, Executive Reptiles is Jenna. She changed her screen name. Jenna, the one who lives with Lester the possum. All right. Dre says, my wife says he looks bored, but I don't think that's exactly what's happening. He's just a chill guy. He is a chill guy. Panthers can be very chill. I ordered my hiking sneakers. Javi has hiking sneakers. That's because he's going to Madagascar with me. Oh, there we go. Renee is by my side as we watch you on the big screen. Hello, Renee. Everybody say hello to Renee, who's sitting by Marcia. Yes. Lisa says, I have enough personalities to count as at least 2 people on this. Okay, Lisa, but what's the name of your alter ego? We need to know who your other personality is. Does your other personality get a name? So glad to hear 20 weeks on Madagascar trip will be full. Yes. So many amazing experiences will be shared. Yes. And with this group, you know, you're going to be seeing it eke out into social media. DC 101178 says, is it normal for chameleons to turn a darker color when they are basking, or does dark always mean they are stressed? Yes, that is normal, because that's when they're cool. They turn dark to absorb more of the light, and that's absolutely normal. And when they are overheated, they'll get very light colors. So yes, chameleon colors change with the temperature, and for a good reason, to absorb it or reflect it. That's a very cool adaptation. But yes, it is normal. Why does my panther lick my arm? E. Martinez. Even though he is drinking water. They don't lick your arm to drink water. They lick your arm to taste. That's one of their senses. I don't know how strong their sense of taste is. A Jacobson's organ. And actually, I'm working on getting Dr. Chris Anderson on to tell us about chameleon senses, including why they lick the branch. But they're probing, they're getting some sort of information as to, I don't know, what chameleons have been there, or they're getting some information about the world through that. It's not so licking your arm is testing something, and I don't know what. Maybe Chris will know. Dr. Anderson will know. Are chameleons smart enough to know food is in their food tray, or do they physically need to see it? Generally speaking, they need to see movement. Some chameleons but chameleons are smart, especially when you're talking about veiled or panther, and they will start learning that when you go into the cage and throw something, that there is something in your food, in the food dish. They're smart enough to know that. They can put 2 and 2 together. So my panther, actually, the guy right up there, if he sees me going into the cage, I can throw stuff into his feeder dish. He can't see it because there's a lip to the feeder dish, but he knows to go to the feeder dish. But other chameleons, like my Jacksons and some of the Shire chameleons, they don't show that amount of putting 2 and 2 together. Ashley says, love black soldier fly larva. I buy 20,000 at a time. That is a fan. Okay, going down. Hey, I'm almost caught up in the chat. Oh, okay. So Lisa's other personality is Lola. Perfect. Lisa and Lola. We never know. We'll have to learn the personality between Lisa and Lola, and then we'll have to guess who we're getting. So, all right, everybody. As for what's going on, if you have any questions, throw it into the chat. But I will give you a little insight as to what's going on. I am working on season 11 of the podcast. Obviously, the first episode is out, and I have been convinced by this is supposed to come. It's supposed to be coming out every other week. That is the thing, and if it comes out every week, then I'm probably going to get the side eye from some people who are saying, Bill, don't do that so much. The main outreach for the Chameleon Academy is these live sessions, but you get these live sessions, you're going to get a podcast, and you get the newsletter, and those are the main outreaches for this channel. We also have the virtual campus, of which we talk to each other throughout the week, and that virtual campus is a way to it's a membership community, so it's it's a bit of a walled garden, but it's also a way for you to support what I'm doing here. And you get a class if you do the annual plan, you get the class included. So what does he merengue or do the cha-cha? I bet you in context that was witty. But me coming back to it later, don't know what he's talking about. Are you still doing the Parsons live on set? Yes, everybody. Yes, I need to tell everybody we are starting to talk more about Parsons. It's going to be throughout the year, and so I'm going to be doing Parsons episodes through the podcast and sprinkling in some other stuff in between. But there's going to be a definite Parsons theme consistently through the year. And this next Saturday, I am going to have a live session where I'm going to be sharing all of the community's Parsons chameleons. And they have been trickling in. What I'm asking is for you all to send me the pictures of your Parsons chameleon. Good pictures. Make sure they're in focus. Make sure they're good pictures that I want to show off. And send those to me at the bill@chameleonacademy.com email. And then I want to share all of your Parsons on Saturday. I just got a data dump from Robin showing the Parsons chameleons that are at Nylon Reptiles. And boy, we got some good ones there. Got Nate, got Jenna, got Alex, who is pretending like he's not already in the Parsons community. But, so let's see. Do I have everybody? Anyway, keep sending me. Sending me. Invalid user ID says, what time will you be live on Saturday? 12 noon Pacific. Every Saturday at 12 noon Pacific, I am live on YouTube. Now, Instagram folks, this is on the Chameleon Academy Live YouTube channel. On Saturday, it's only on YouTube. So go over to there. Just know that there are two Chameleon Academy channels. There's Chameleon Academy and Chameleon Academy Live. The live show is on the Chameleon Academy Live YouTube channel. And yes, there's a whole story as to why I had to break those two apart. And I still think it's ridiculous, but it worked. So, all right. Let's see. Valentina says, my neighbor has an impressive wall of Schefflera with morning glories. Wow. I want to get that entire wall in my home. Oh my good. Valentina, I would love to see a picture of that. Oh my goodness. That sounds wonderful. See, Annette says, if I entered the room at feeding time, my carpet speedily walks to the feeder cup and waits for me to fill it. All right. All right. So we have the carpet chameleons doing that too. Oh. Live here on YouTube. Mike is asking, live here on YouTube. Yes, Saturdays. Every Saturday at 12 noon, we have a show. I do live shows twice a week. That's crazy. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do a show twice a week? There's a historical reason for it, and I locked myself into that schedule, and well, I've just kept doing it for 3 years. It used to be Tuesday night was on Instagram and Saturday was on YouTube. And I had, well, it used to be, you know what? Here's your history lesson of Chameleon Academy Lives. The first Chameleon Academy Live was Tuesday nights on Instagram. And the reason for that is because I needed to practice being on camera. I don't like doing video. And I would look at the camera and go, oh, I don't know what to say. And so I hated having to do scripts things. So I wanted to practice being able to just talk in front of the camera. And so at that moment, that exact moment, I said, all right, I'm going to do live sessions because that's the way to jump in the deep end. And so I went on Instagram, I hit the live button, and I just talked for, I don't know, half an hour, an hour. And lo and behold, people actually showed up. I was thinking I'm going to be here alone, but no, people showed up and said hello. And so I just started on Tuesdays, and I said, okay, I'll be back next week. And so I started every week on Tuesdays on Instagram, but then my app crashed. My app wouldn't work for live sessions, and it would just crash. I couldn't see the chat. That was the problem. So I started my live on YouTube on Saturday mornings. And no. Oh, gosh, what did I do? I don't remember this. So I had to go to YouTube, but then Instagram fixed itself. So I went back to Instagram, but I couldn't give up YouTube. And so that is why there's 2 shows. Any other questions? Because you just get me talking and I'll get talking. And I'll give you all sorts of stories and history. There's the questions. But I'd love to see you all. Saturdays, usually I have a presentation on Saturday. It's kind of like a tutorial where I actually have a topic and we talk about things. We don't always stick with the topic, but I attempt a topic. Tuesday night is completely open question and answer session. I do not come with any agenda. I come with an open mind and an open heart to be with the community and just answer whatever questions. I don't do a whole lot of questions and answer on email or Instagram, and especially I don't touch Facebook. And so these live sessions are the time to ask questions. This is how I have said I want to answer questions on a live session. And so this is where you can get me, and I'll answer anything. I will answer anything. And it's a lot of fun. You don't need, like when I put a question up, I don't even know what it is until I'm done reading it out loud. So yeah, get you good practice, thinking on your feet. Has anyone gotten jasmine to grow in their indoor enclosures? I've not tried jasmine. The reason why this is a very cool question is because with the advent of the LED light bars, like the Arcadia Jungle Dawn and some of these Thrive ecosystems, you can now have a full sun vines in your indoor terrariums. I had a passion flower bloom indoors, Passiflora alata for those of you who are plant nerds, and it bloomed indoors under these LED bars. So getting some really good solid light in our environments gives us these options. And so I've not tried jasmine, but that is a great thing. Has anybody tried jasmine in their terrarium and had it be healthy long-term and bloom long-term? Because we can get these plants, these outdoor plants, we can put them indoors and they can survive until they're dead. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for thriving. We are looking for flowering. Once we know that they flower, we're happy. Please don't stop twice a week. My routine needs 2 times a week. Without it, I'm lost. All right, Nate. Yep, 2 times is pretty much locked in. I've been doing 2 times for 2 to 3 years now, and so it's pretty much locked in. We've got 2 times. Janet says, I agree. Guys, oh, by the way, Janet and Nate, I've got this crazy idea, and I know it's crazy, but gosh, I want to do it. I'm going to talk to you guys. I got crazy ideas, but I want to do it so badly. So Jenna says, I look forward to, you guys, this is awesome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. Yes, and it is useful to let me know, because sometimes I just keep going on and go, why am I, is this really serving people? So is this really worth doing? So when you let me know these kind of things, it does, it does a lot of good. So let me know what you like, and that will definitely increase the chances of it continuing. And so, yes. But Jasmine just started some new growth after a whole year. It's been in an indoor cage. Robert, that is excellent. That is great to hear. Robert, what kind of lighting do you use? And do you know what kind of jasmine it is? These are very important questions and very fun to learn about. Thank you, Robert, for speaking up. This is great news. Felt like an eternity when he was in Madagascar. Oh, yeah. So that's the one time that I don't do these, is when I'm in Madagascar. And I would if I could, but the internet is not reliable there. That's the problem. What's your favorite chameleon story to share? Is that for me? My favorite chameleon story is actually how I got my first chameleon, but I think I've told it so many times. People, is everybody here sick of hearing about my first political campaign to get my first chameleon? All right. People want to know. Okay, Jenna, I'm gonna catch up in the chat, and then I'm gonna tell my favorite chameleon story. For those of you who have heard this before, well, just sit back. I don't think it gets better every time. I don't think it gets bigger, but anyway, this is my favorite. We're gonna get that. Valentina says, okay, thank you very much. Sending me that picture. Susan says, thanks for the help with Connie the Senegal this week. Yes, Susan was sold a baby Jackson's chameleon, but says, wait a minute, this is not a Jackson's chameleon. And it turns out that Susan actually has Camellia senegalensis as a baby, which was not common. That was not expected. So good luck, senegalensis. The problem with senegalensis, many of you probably have never seen senegalensis. It's one of these chameleons that when it comes in, it's so darn cheap. It's like $25 or something. It's ridiculous, and it's a crime. But so nobody really works with them. No serious breeders will work with them. But that means that they're very, very rare. And so it was very cool that Susan was able to get one. And for one and the thing is, they come in with a lot of parasites and such. But to get one as a juvenile, that's when they start to really be hardy. And this is a widespread species, so it's a hardy species. So this was Susan. I would say, as much as you wanted the Jacksons, and the Jacksons are so incredible, you got a real cool opportunity there with the senegalensis. Yeah. James says, sorry, Bill, I only have ficus indoors. It's the best chameleon plant ever. James, you and me, we're going to have words. In Madagascar, we are going to have words. He's provoking me. This all started because I said at one point, I don't like ficus that much. And then it just blew out of proportion. Oh, but then Sunday chore night was legend. There was a time that I was doing a third show, and that was fun. It was Sunday nights, but I needed to cut back on that one. Never sick of that story. Never, Bill, tell it again. I am here for it. I have never heard the story you are speaking of. I have not heard it yet. Never. 110 million, 100 million times isn't enough. It's such a good one. Oh, I love the story of how you got your first chameleon. Okay, everybody, you have made me feel. See, this is why you need friends, because they make you feel good. All right, everybody. Let us. Oh, I want a photo of Bill and James by Ficustry. I can guarantee you, Janet, you're going to get one. James is going to make sure it happens because he knows where there is a ficustry in Madagascar, and he knows we're going there in the second week. He knows exactly what's going. He's already said he's going to make me take a picture. So you're going to get that picture. Can you believe that? Can you believe that, everybody? James knows of a ficustry in Madagascar, and he knows where it is. All right. Let's go. Les Lamb, your test is come through. All right, everybody. Here's story time. How Bill got his first chameleon. So there I was. 10 years old, something like that. This was in the rockin' 80s. Back in the last century, the previous century, everybody. And I had gone through so many different reptiles. I knew I loved reptiles, but none of them really grabbed me until I ran across a chameleon. And this is back before internet. This is so, you could be 10 years old and still discovering that things that people already know. So I discovered the chameleon, and I knew that was it. Chameleons are my life. Boom. Okay, I'm set. Nothing else matters. And I told my parents this, and they said, no, we're not getting anything else. I said, okay, I'll get rid of everything. I don't need anything else. I just need a chameleon. That is all I need in life. And they said, no. They don't care that this is my new, but of course I was at grade school. How does this kid know what is that this is now the meaning of his life? So anyway, my parents said, no, you're not going to get a chameleon. But I could not let that stand. There's no way. I knew what my life's purpose was. It was chameleons. And actually they were kind of surprised where I ended up with all this chameleon stuff, but they said no. I said, you know what? I got to come with, my daughter turned 10 in the 80s. Hey, I'm the same age as your daughter. So I came up with a campaign idea. This was my 7th grade class, I think. My 7th grade class, we had student council. Woo! So we could all learn how to do politics and stuff. I campaigned through that entire class for that we needed a class pet. And I convinced the entire class to go home and get $1 from their parents, because chameleons back then were $25. All right. And I had a class of 30. And so I knew, get $5 extra, get some food to come with it. All right. And I've got the cage. Okay. So we're set. And so I actually campaigned each and every person in that class. We took the vote. Everybody said, okay, yes, we're going to do this. And everybody brought $1. And this is what I knew, because I was a smart little kid and I looked to the future. I knew that within a week, everybody would be bored of this thing. It does nothing, right? It's not something that's going to come out and grab attention. And I knew that I was going to be the one feeding it and taking care of it, because nobody else is going to do that. They're going to get tired of it very quickly. Remember, this is my plan. They're going to get tired of it within a week. And I will continue to care for it first week, so nobody else has to worry about it. Nobody else has to do anything, meaning nobody else is going to be getting emotionally involved or emotionally connected to this thing. See, this is important. A lot of important points to this plan. And so it freaking worked absolutely perfectly because I took care of it. Nobody had to do anything. Everybody lost interest in it. And here is the coup de grace. What do you call it? The highlight, the climax, whatever. This is the final part of my plan because it has to go somewhere at the end of the school year. Now, doesn't it? It can't just sit there all summer, can it? So at the end of the summer, when the summer came, last day of class, the teacher says, what are we going to do with this thing? Who do we send it home with? That's right. That's right. This was a 10-year-old. It was a 4 month, 4, 5, 6, whatever month plan. And I remember my parents sitting there saying, okay. And they literally said this. He said, we said no chameleons, yet there's a chameleon in our living room. How did this happen? And I was just pleased as punch because I got my first chameleon. Actually, I got all my class. I paid $1 and I got my entire class to buy me my first chameleon. So that's my first chameleon story. It was a female Jackson's chameleon, and she was incredible. That was such a great experience. That is my first, how I got my first chameleon story. Well played, Bill. Well played. Patience is a virtue. That's right. Scheming will work. And by the way, that wasn't my first grand plan. I'll tell you about the first grand. Let's answer some stories. And I have one more story to tell you about me as a kid. Apparently, I was a planner. So it just continued on from there. Well, there were some hiccups. There were see, the problem is that then I was in high school and then as in college, and so during those times, those are my deep research times. I was not able to keep a chameleon during those times. I was keeping carnivorous plants during those times, but I was researching chameleons as much as possible. But as soon as I, very, very soon, yes, I was back into chameleons and full bore. So I enjoy the gecko in the apartment a bit better. All right. Mike's talking about the gecko in the apartment story. Then I'm going to let you know. Let's give you the gecko in the apartment story. That was a problem where I got in. I actually bought a condo. This was my first condo, my first purchase of property. You could do that back then. You could actually have a job and purchase property. Not so much today. But anyway, I had this condo, and the thing is, as soon as I would walk in and I'd turn on the light, I'd see all these little cockroaches scurry around. And I didn't like that. And I didn't want to put poison and stuff like that. I had my chameleons. I had upstairs, I had a panther chameleon. Actually, at this point, it was just a panther chameleon. I was going to have quadricornis join soon, but this was just a panther chameleon. And so I decided, instead of trapping and stuff like that, I got a house gecko. Went to the pet store, got a house gecko, and I just let them go in my condo. I'm a bachelor. I don't have to talk to anyone. I don't have to clear it with anybody. And so it was awesome because within 2 nights, the roaches disappeared. They literally disappeared. And I would, like every 6 months, I would run into that gecko in the bathroom upstairs. Whoops, hey, dude. I'd look at him, he'd look at me, and we would just say, okay, I saw nothing. I saw nothing. You just keep doing what you're doing. because I never saw a roach after that. But I know that he was around because I had it was like every 6 months. It's like after a year, I saw him again. So I know he was running around and having a good time being a house gecko like he was supposed to be. So that's my house gecko story. Whoa, Mike remembers that one. Just so you know, guys, Bill always plays the long game. I was just a keeper. Oh, yeah, you were a keeper who didn't want to breed. I remember that. Oh, but okay, talking about the long game. Let me give you an example of another thing that I tried. This time, I was in kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, and we had a schoolyard, and there was a chain link fence that surrounded the schoolyard, and I wanted to escape. This was captivity, and I was not born for captivity, and so I started my plan for escape, to escape the schoolyard, escape preschool. And I knew that if I made a run for it, they were faster than me. They'd catch me. And so I needed to do it sly-like. And so I decided the best way to do that is to dig a hole under the chain link fence so I could slip out. But, you know, if you're a kid's out there digging a hole under the fence, the teachers are going to notice. So I knew that I had to do it sly-like. And I figured out, I don't know how old I was, but it was in pre-kindergarten, so I wasn't that old, that if I took a handful of dirt every recess, that's our break, 15-minute break, whatever. If I took a handful of dirt, they would get used to that hole. And every time they saw it, it would just get a little bit bigger, but they would get used to, they would acclimate to it. And so they wouldn't realize that it was getting bigger. And in my mind, I had this, I assumed that would just continue to the point where even though it was big enough for a kid to get through, they wouldn't notice. Okay. So as a child, I was like 50% genius and 50%, well, you know, you got to work on that. But this is what my mind was. And I knew I didn't want to do it alone. So I had dinosaurs, so I got Ornitholestes, because at least at that point, I thought Ornitholestes was a digging dinosaur. So I got my little plastic digging dinosaur, and he helped me. And by the way, you're saying, but Bill, aren't they going to notice this pile of dirt? And yes, I had thought about that, guys. Come on. I would take that handful, and as I was walking in, I would let half of it drop, just little crumbs, little bits along the schoolyard, but only half of it, because more than that would have given it away. So I did half of that, and then I threw the rest away in the trash can when the teacher, during nap time, the teacher wasn't looking. Now, there was a time that I apparently was under surveillance by a teacher, and so instead of doing this along the schoolyard, I put it in my pocket, and my mother found it in the next laundry day. So that was a close call. I was almost caught with that. You know, they're asking, what is this doing here? Yeah, okay, you're trying to escape or something. Now, in my mind, I had no sense of time. So the fact that it would have taken like a couple of years for me to actually get that hole big enough to go in there, and by that time I would be in first grade in a totally different school, didn't occur to me at that time. So I had a little trouble with time. But anyway, that's the story of Bill, the long-term planner. That's right. There was a website about a veiled chameleon when I was a child. Printed out the whole website, would read it in the car, and carry it around with me. It was just someone's pet in their care. Was that? Did that have a forum? I tend to remember that. It was like one of the main communities back in the 90s, I think. Did your girlfriends like your hobby? Yeah, actually. They did, because the first apartment that I had, this is another Bill story. Apparently, I've got some stories. The first apartment that I had, I was thinking, what in the world do I need a dining room for? So I literally I got thick plastic tarp, and I lined the entire dining room in plastic tarp and had little walls there. And so I put a bunch of trees in there, some lights, and misting systems. And I literally had a little rainforest in my apartment instead of a dining room. And so, yes, the whoever decided that they wanted to learn more about Bill came to my apartment, and they got they got an eye full of personality. Let's just say that. And if they didn't like that, well, I guess we weren't compatible. So, yeah. You would wonder, Bill, did you date much? I dated a whole lot more than, looking back. I don't know how I dated that much, considering the kind of stuff I did. I was not normal. Oh boy. Oh, let's see. Winnabedes' tarantula has a pet cockroach. Hey, all right. I love it. Sounds like you ever. Yeah. I gave my parents a run for their money. Let's see. Get the feeling the teachers might have noticed and just not cared, since you couldn't dig fast enough to escape anytime soon. I think the teachers might not have noticed, and I'd like to believe that it was because of my incredible planning. It's probably because a kid grabbing a handful of dirt wasn't out of the ordinary and had absolutely zero effect on any hole under a fence. So, but I was committed in my pre-kindergarten mind. I was a man with a mission. That's right. The Shamrock Redemption. That's right. I'm breaking out of this place. We need a Sunday story chore night. We just do our cleaning while listening to your stories. So there I was. Long lives the Sith. That's right. Little baby Sith. Oh boy. Oh. Well, I have ambitions. I'm working on this app, and I'm trying to get this book done, this course done, and this app done. And it's 3 huge projects. I'm trying to get them all done in 2026, but the chances of me getting them all done in 2026 are pretty low. The thing is, the app itself, what I have planned for the app itself isn't the complicated thing, because it's really not complicated. It's really a content platform, and so it's creating the content that takes the time. But I want to do it. So, how did you meet your wife? Sword fighting class. What do you think? Oh. Do chameleons still pass urates during brumation? Yeah. Well, they rarely poop, but when they poop, they'll have urates. Anyway, I was looking to become part of a guild at the Renaissance Fair, and I was yes, and so I was trying to figure out where I would fit in to actually work the Renaissance Fair, and not just go to the Renaissance Fair, but work it. And the one thing the thing is, I was heavily involved in martial arts at the time. And so metal swords flashing around my face was just normal for me. So I said, hey, how about I become part of the Gentlemen's Adventurers, which was the sword fighting guild? And they actually did sword fighting. So we would go out, they say, okay, this is the area, nobody go into this area, and we would actually sword fight. And it wasn't just let's go hit each other with metal. It was, you learned the techniques, and you would do things to where you were trying to be very obvious what we were doing so they could parry and so people could see what real sword fighting would look like. We weren't trying to kill each other, we weren't trying to bash each other, so it was legit. And so I went to this guild, and the thing is, to actually be part of that, you had to train all year. You don't just show up and say, okay, here's your sword. You had to train all year to be safe because it was a real sword. And so you got to be careful about things like that. It wasn't sharp, but it could still do real damage. And so, yeah, we had to train every week for the entire year. And Yvette was there. She was kind of going out with someone there, not me, but that's where we met. I was in a relationship. She was in a relationship, but we passed each other and we met. And the thing is, it wasn't oh my gosh, let's leave everybody in. No. And for a number of years, we were close friends. And so that's probably why we weren't in relationships when we got together. So the relationships that we were in were over and done with. So there was no leaving anybody for anybody else. But we had spent many years as friends and just having fun, to the point where when we started going out, we knew what kind of person we were. Like, she knew who I was when I wasn't being supervised by my other, when I was in a relationship. And I knew what kind of a person she was behind the back of her boyfriend. So we had pretty much, and we weren't going out at that time. We weren't interested. We were just
easy transition.
Yes. So we knew who each other was. And that's why it became so easy to say, hey, I want to spend more time with you because you're freaking cool. And that's how I met Yvette. And we just, continued until, it was kind of fun. We actually had a point where we broke up just for a break for legitimate reasons. And I couldn't stop talking about her to my other guy friends, who were going, Bill, would you just ask her out? Would you just get back together with her? This is not working for you. So we ended up getting back together. Now I knew why that wasn't. See, this is Bill planning again. I knew you couldn't just go back to somebody if you broke up. And so there was a lot of strategy that went into getting back into her good graces. There were some untruths that were spoken, such as, oh, wow, we'd be on the phone and she'd say, yeah, I got to be going to the beach and I need some aloe vera for my skin. And say, oh, are you kidding? I've got an extra bottle of aloe vera in my back, the back of my car. I'll go ahead. I got two just by accident. I'll just drop it on by. Just drop it on by. I'm in the neighborhood. I was not in the neighborhood. I was nowhere near it. I didn't have any aloe vera. So I drove to the store. I got a bottle of aloe vera and I showed up at her doorstep, just in the neighborhood. So there's that kind of stuff. I earned my way back in to her good graces. Let's just say that. And I planned it. Yeah, it was there was scheming going on. So Is this called LARPing? I think LARPing is another group, and they do their LARPing is, I think they are more, they enjoy fighting. The group that I was in was more for historical reenactment for education. Now, I won't say I know what LARPing, I don't really know what LARPing is, but that's my impression. It was a little bit different. I heard, James heard Yvette in the background. What? You were heard. That's right. I think LARPing is live action role play. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. Wayne Abidi says, my wife and I have a similar story, Bill. We were friends for like 3 or 4 years before we got together. We saw each other with other people, and yeah, it just happened to link up when we were both single. Yep. Yeah, and it's so cool when you know what that person is like when you're not around, because you saw what that person is like when they were with somebody else, and so that made it very easy. Nate, he got me flowers. I got scared, ghosted him, then apologized a year later. Oh, that's an awesome story. I'm loving story time while chopping up chicken. Aw, well, we'll have all these stories. Oh, grand gestures are the absolute best way to win. I got to remember some of the stuff I did. I wonder if Yvette remembers some of the stuff I did. I remember showing up at her house because I wanted to take her on a 5K run, and I showed up early in the morning, and I could tell that she loved me deeply to do this. That's how I knew she truly was in love with me, because she was willing to do a 5K early in the morning, get up before the sun was up. And so, I think that was a grand gesture for her to me. So, well, you know what? It's at 6:03. If I spend another 4 minutes here, then I will have made up for the 7 minutes that Marcia was late. And somehow I have to pay if I'm late, and I have to pay if Marcia's late. What's going on here? So anyway, yeah, so this app that I've been wanting to do, I'm making episodes for you to fall asleep to, and I got my Coccidia episode, and it is like I'm gonna fall asleep reading it. It's awesome, and I just have to review it some more before I unleash it upon the world. But if you ever wanted to fall asleep to a podcast, boy, I found the perfect episode for it. And if you don't fall asleep, you're going to be very educated as far as the history and taxonomy of Coccidia. It's integrated with the history of microscopy, and how people figured out, how in the world do you figure out the species of Coccidia or any of these other single-celled protozoa? I don't know. I still don't know. But they were all trying to figure that out. And there was drama. I got to tell you, back there, then Coccidia scientists, there was some serious drama. There was some feelings being hurt. So it's a fun story. By the way, let's see. Renee says, help me install a set of patio doors early on. I knew she was the one. Helping you install patio doors. That'll do it. That'll do it. Geraldine says, I don't care how much I love someone. If they showed up at my house for a 5K run in the morning, I would tell them to go have fun and go back to sleep. Yes, well, that's how I knew that I was the one, that she would stick with me through thick and thin. If she got up for 5K in the morning, she was going to stick with me through anything. Oh. So let's see if I can remember any more fun stories that can be told in a public arena. Oh boy, smash the like, y'all. That's right. Smash the like, y'all. So yeah, one of these days, maybe we ought to have story time as to how we met our significant others and put them together. And you know what? It's really, this is all about chameleons, but you know what's most important about chameleons? It's the community, and it's all of us. So if we want to talk about our lives, we can. I'm with Geraldine, but I would have used very bad words. I would have been very amused if she cussed me out. That would have been fun. But you know, I just poured her into the passenger seat. I think I had a pillow that I brought with me for her, and we dropped by and got her a Starbucks. So you know, I wasn't a monster. I took care of her. So, all right, everybody. It is 6:07. I have paid for Marsha's tardiness, and the ledgers are clear. Remember, though, Saturday is going to be Parsons Day. We are going to be sharing our Parsons chameleons. And so, for those of you who haven't sent me pictures of your Parsons chameleons, please do so. Send it to bill@chameleonacademy.com, or you can send it to my Instagram account if you're on Instagram. And send those to me this week so I can include them this Saturday. This Saturday is going to be on the Chameleon Academy YouTube live channel. So if you're on Instagram, go over to YouTube, find Chameleon Academy live. Remember, it's got to have that live. There's Chameleon Academy and Chameleon Academy live. Go to the live, subscribe there, set the notification. I will set up the show tomorrow. And so it'll be there. So you can say, okay, hit the notifications and show up on Saturday, and we will be there. So thank you very much for sharing this Tuesday evening with me. It's always great hanging out with the community, and I'll see you next time, Saturday. Bye, everybody. So do I need a Parsons to join Saturday? Yes. Yes, Javi, you need a Parsons.